When I opened the door that evening, the last person I expected to see was a young woman with my mother's eyes. She stood there awkwardly, nervously fidgeting with the strap of her worn leather purse. Her voice was barely above a whisper. "Hi. I think you might be my mother." Time stopped. I stared at her like I was staring into a mirror from 20 years ago, and then I felt my knees give out. Rachel, that was her name. She told me everything. How she was raised by a couple who never quite explained where she came from. How she always felt disconnected, like a stranger in her own life. She said she'd started digging through old records when she turned 20. Her adoptive mother had passed, and with that, secrets began to unravel. A nurse's name on a birth record, a hospital she was never told she came from. And finally, my name. "I just wanted to meet you," she said softly, her eyes wet. "I've had so many questions my whole life." I couldn't speak. I just reached for her hand and cried. I always suspected something wasn't right the day I gave birth. They told me she died shortly after delivery. I never got to hold her. I never got to see her face. They wouldn't let me. Just a cold, clinical, "We're sorry, it was too late." My husband, Mark, had been distant. He was outside talking to someone when the doctor gave me the news. He didn't cry. He didn't even ask questions. I grieved alone. And then we moved on, or tried to. As Rachel sat on the couch sipping tea, I felt this indescribable mix of joy and heartbreak. My baby girl was alive, but I'd missed her entire life. "Do you remember anything?" I asked her. She shook her head. "Not really, they were always vague. But I had this dream once, of a woman crying, holding a pink blanket. I don't know why, but I always felt like someone was missing me." I broke down. Because I was. I had been missing her every single day since they took her from me. Mark came home later that night. I told him everything. He froze. He stared at Rachel like he was seeing a ghost. "You're mistaken," he said flatly. "Our daughter died. This is just a scam." But Rachel pulled out the DNA test. She'd already done it, with a sample she'd gotten from an ancestry kit. "I'm not here to take anything," she said calmly. "I just wanted the truth." I turned to Mark. "Tell me the truth right now, or get out." His silence was louder than a confession. Later that night, Mark finally spoke. "I didn't know they were going to take her," he said, his voice low. "But I didn't stop it either." My breath caught. He told me he had debts back then. Gambling. He was in deep, and some benefactor, offered to erase everything in exchange for our newborn. Claimed it was for a wealthy couple who couldn't have children. "I thought she was going to a better life," he muttered. I slapped him. Not out of anger, but pure grief. "You let me bury an empty casket." He had nothing to say. I told Rachel everything Mark had admitted. She sat in silence for a long time. "So, I was sold," she whispered. "Like a thing?" I reached for her hand. "You were never a thing. You were and are my daughter, and I will never let anyone hurt you again." She nodded, but I could see it in her eyes. The devastation, the confusion. I knew we were just at the beginning of uncovering how deep this went, and who else was involved, because there's no way Mark pulled this off alone. Linda, my nurse, my betrayer, sat across from me, her hands shaking, her eyes wet with tears that came far too late. "I didn't know they'd keep her," she whispered. "What do you mean?" I choked out. "I was told you were unstable, that you'd been sedated too heavily. The hospital had a program." Unofficial, unrecorded, they gave newborns to couples with powerful friends. I was a pawn. Her words spiraled around me like smoke. The air felt heavy, my chest tighter with every syllable. She wasn't dead, I whispered. You knew. You let them take her. I was young, I didn't question it. They paid me, then I found out who she went to, and I couldn't live with it. I quit, moved away, I never stopped thinking about it. I stood. My knees felt weak, but rage made me strong. And you just let me mourn a child who was alive? Linda sobbed. I tried to reach out a year later. I wrote letters. They never reached you. I swear I had a name now. The woman who had raised my daughter, a powerful woman, cold, reclusive. Her name was Margaret Caldwell, the senator's wife, Rachel's adoptive mother. I'd seen her on TV once or twice. She was the kind of woman who didn't flinch on camera. Controlled, icy. I called Rachel that night. Do you know the name Margaret Caldwell? I asked. Silence. She's the one who raised you, Rachel gasped. That woman. I always felt like I didn't belong. She was distant, controlling. She never hugged me. I thought maybe that's just how rich people are. My stomach turned. She was never meant to be your mother. I didn't know what to expect when I stood at the gates of the Caldwell estate. They buzzed me in. Somehow she already knew I was coming. Margaret stood on the steps, regal, unapologetic. You're here for Rachel, she said. I'm her mother, I replied. She is who she is because of me. I stepped forward. She could have been who she is with me. You stole her. You let me believe she was dead. She was never meant for your kind, she snapped. You had nothing, no name, no connections. She deserved better. I couldn't speak, because how do you argue with someone so deeply convinced they saved your child by stealing her? I'm not here to fight you, I said finally. I just want her to know the truth, and she already does. Rachel moved out of the Caldwell home. She stayed with me for weeks, learning the stories of her real family, sleeping in the room I once decorated for a baby I never got to hold. She brought old photos. I brought baby blankets I'd never thrown away. We cried a lot, but we also laughed. I told her about how I would have raised her. She told me about the night she ran away at age 9 and slept in a park, hoping someone warm would find her. I think I was trying to find you, she said. And in that moment I let go of the pain. Just a little. We filed a lawsuit. The hospital settled quietly. Margaret Caldwell never publicly acknowledged wrongdoing, but she resigned from several boards. Her reputation faded into obscurity. Linda testified. So did 2 others. Turns out I wasn't the only mother. I began writing letters, and 2 other women who might have been victims too. Rachel encouraged it. You're not just my mom, she said. You're the light for all the other mothers who still don't know the truth. It's been 2 years now since Rachel knocked on my door. We talk every day. Sometimes we bake together. She's learning all my old recipes. We even framed that ultrasound photo and the one I once hid away in a box. Now it hangs in our kitchen, a reminder of loss, of love, of the truth, buried but never destroyed. They took her from me, but fate brought her back, and this time no one's taking her away again. If you stayed with me through this story, thank you. This wasn't just a story of betrayal. It was a fight to be heard. Now I'd love to hear from you. Where in the world are you watching from? Tell me in the comments, and let me know which part of this story hit you the hardest. Because sometimes Sharing your voice is the first step to healing.